Happy Monday. How is everybody? I hope that you are.
Good morning.
Good morning. It looks like a
Yes, I
brisk,
am still
brisk
on the
morning.
commute.
I love it. I love it.
And
It's nice and brisk here. How about there? I think it's cold everywhere. I don't know. Kayla just
oh,
like,
at
I
some
think
point it'll come
there,
back.
there's, there
There
we
it is.
go. You're back. Woohoo.
Oh,
Awesome.
hopping from
Well,
one Wi-Fi to the other.
right? So there's this moment of transition, right? That's what happens on commutes, Kayla. You
I
know,
know you were all along with me for my morning commute.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Well, I hope everybody was able to stay warm and cozy and get some rest and relaxation and some time in with your family this weekend because, that's what it's all about, right? Taking a break and recharging so that you can get back to the work of advocacy come Monday morning. And guess what? Here we are. It is
Here we
Monday
are.
morning and we're back. So today we're going to be talking about confidence, and I'm going to assume, Kayla, is it safe to assume that you do not yet have the quote in front of you? I will be happy to kind of put that out there. Wednesday we were talking about making the shift, and the quote that we're talking about today is confidence is not the prerequisite. It's the byproduct of commitment. And so that's kind of where we're going to start because this is the mindset that we really need to get into so that we can start taking action and moving things forwards in our practice and really honestly everywhere in life, right? I mean, that's just kind of I think it's a what are your thoughts, Kayla? I see that you are now like seated in your space. I don't know what happened. Like literally, I looked away and oh, nope, she's jumping. I don't know.
Oh my God, now
I
nothing
don't
wants to
know.
work.
Ah, of course. Of course. Here we go. All right. I think we went from phone to
Okay, this
desktop
is
is what I
way
think.
more disruptive than I thought it would be. I'm so
That's okay.
sorry.
That's okay. That's what happens on Monday. Remember, we show up authentically. And tech issues, commute issues, time issues, these are all real world problems, right? And so this is the way that it happens sometimes. It's not a problem, it's not a disruption. It's just a thing that we have to manage through, and it's totally okay. So I will kind of carry this for just a minute while you get settled there, Miss Kayla. We're going to talk about confidence is not the prerequisite, it's the byproduct of commitment. And this was something that we briefly touched on in our Wednesday call when we were talking about choosing a niche, right? And we talked about how not having the confidence of making the decision or taking the next step sometimes keeps us stalled and uncertain and not taking the next action towards wanting to meet our goals. And so this confidence is not a prerequisite. So we don't have to be confident before we make a decision or before we make a choice or before we make a commitment. Actually, confidence is developed by making the commitment, right? And making the decision. And I think that this quote really matters because when we wait for confidence, we delay execution, right? And professionals and professional practices do not advance on certainty. They advance on decisions that are honored consistently, right? So we make decisions. We've talked about this a lot. The cycle is we make a decision, we get real-time feedback, and then we adjust and make another decision. It's a cycle, right? And I love to reference, really highly successful people do not make better decisions than we do. They really don't. They just make more of them. Right? So they're running through this cycle. So my goal, and I know Kayla's goal, we've talked about this. The goal is to run through that cycle as quickly as possible, right? And honoring that real time feedback so that we are making a decision, committing to the action, taking the action, waiting and long enough to let the market give us feedback on that decision and that commitment. And then we're adjusting and making the next decision. right? And so the idea of, oh, I'll do this when I'm ready, I'll do this when I'm confident, I'll do this when I know, all that does is keep us from making the decision and the commitment and the action, right? And so that's the mindset shift that we wanted to talk about today. Um, and, the truth is that working in client funded independent client funded patient advocacy is going to expose this hesitation very quickly. Okay. Because when revenue depends on your leadership, then your lack of commitment shows up as stalled offers, inconsistent pricing, and half-built systems, right? And so it's gonna show up really quickly. And when it does, my big message is make sure that you know and understand this isn't a personal fault. This isn't a personality defect. This isn't a character defect. This is a result of not understanding or not capitalizing on the fact that I don't need confidence to make the decision. The confidence is going to come afterwards. It's a byproduct, right? Um, so yeah, so like I said, when these things show up in your practice, it's not because of you. It's because you probably haven't made a decision that needs to be made in your practice. And once you make it and commit to it, some of these things will start to work themselves out, right? And just a reminder that no CEO feels confident first. It really doesn't come that way. They commit and let confidence catch up. So confidence is evidence, it's not emotion, right? And it's earned through follow through, not preparation. Okay. So the more we prepare does not make us more confident. What makes us confident is taking the action and getting real world feedback that says, yes, that worked. And then that gives you the confidence to make the next decision or next choice.
And I
How you
think a
doing
lot
over
of
there, Kayla?
us can.
Oh, there. Yay.
I just didn't want to cut you off. And my
Oh,
camera won't turn on, so I can't signal anything.
oh, bummer.
I know. Zoom is so finicky sometimes. But
Right.
I when I am wrestling with big thoughts like this, one of the best things that I've found for me is to find evidence in other areas of my life where this has been true before. And, a lot of us are parents. And I want you to
Mm.
think back to when you were becoming a parent. Did you feel confident when you brought that baby home from the hospital? Did you feel confident when the 2 blue lines showed up? No, you probably felt terrified. If you felt confident in that moment, honestly, that's a red flag. But now I'm going to go out on a limb and say at this point, you've probably built up some confidence about your ability to parent. And that just is the living proof that confidence is a byproduct of taking action, learning, and making better choices. And it's the same thing, we can lump motivation in this same category because that's another, I think, close relative of the
Yeah.
confidence. And I hear it all the time. Oh, I don't feel ready, or I don't feel motivated, and so that's why I'm not going to do the thing. It's like, well, yeah, of course you don't, because you haven't done it yet.
Right? Right. It's all unknown until we do something, right? And so I think, honestly, I think this is probably if I had to categorize right now today, I think I would say it's probably the biggest barrier I see advocates facing is, is that just doing the thing, right? And moving into that, um, I'm going to guess it's because we've worked in situations for so long where we felt really confident in our ability to execute in our jobs. And now we're headed into this place of, I'm really not sure. I don't know what's going to happen. I think it probably took me a good year in my practice before I really understood and I was going to say got comfortable, but I'm going to say got marginally comfortable because it's not comfortable, right? Like no matter how often we do this, it's still not completely comfortable, right? It's just that I know that it's the way that it works and it's going to be okay. And I think my therapist once told me that the definition of resilience isn't success. It's really just the understanding that no matter what happens, I will be okay and manage through it. And it's the same kind of thing here, right? Like, I'm going to do this thing and I have no idea if the world's going to want it or if it's going to work or if it's going to be, helpful or, it might fall flat on its face. I don't know. But what I do know is that regardless of the outcome, it'll be all right, right? It's going to be okay. Like, it may not be what I wanted, but it'll be okay. I'll survive. I'll be able to turn the page and get to the next thing, right? Um, yeah. And I think everybody feels that, right? Like that you're not gonna like, no matter how bad I might mess something up, because I've messed lots of things up, and I'll mess lots more things up, right? I mean, gosh, it's just the way it is. Um, and I'll survive, right? We'll see another Monday. We'll be back here next Monday. No matter what happens between here and next Monday, we'll be back. It's coming. So I don't know. What are you thinking about that, Kayla?
Well, that line of thought, I mean, really ties back into the quote that I have been repeating a lot lately, that,
Mm-hmm.
it failure isn't really a failure. Either you learn something or you achieve the thing you set out to, and it's only a failure if neither of those occurs.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what, like, there's so much interconnectedness between all of these things that we talk
It
about.
really
But,
is.
reframing things in that way, but also, like, just take a step back, because you mentioned a minute ago, a lot of us are come from jobs where we're used to feeling confident in how good we do the job and XYZ, and then we're comparing that to how not confident we feel about running a business. And it's like, well, yeah, you just started. Like, why
Right.
why do you think that you would be confident or even consider yourself good? Like, you're starting, you're learning. And probably when you started that first day on the job or the training required for it, you didn't feel confident or good at it either. But you're comparing
It's
where you were at the peak of your career to where you are at the beginning of this journey now and wondering why it feels different. You're
mm,
at the starting line again. You got to compare to
nice.
what it's like to be at the starting line. I go through this with my son all the time. We homeschool. He's 5.5, and he has a tremendous innate resistance to the discomfort of learning.
Mm.
And all the time he's just like, it's just so hard and I'm not good. And I'm like, of course you're not yet, buddy. If you were good, then you wouldn't be learning it.
Right. You'd already know.
But how
So
do
my
hard things get easier? By doing them. And then
That's
you get
right.
good. And then you feel
Yeah.
confident.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It starts with doing them. My husband likes to say he loves to be a really good volleyball player without practicing. And, it's the same thing, right? Like all of the actions, all of the decisions, all of the things that we do, when we take them and do them, even when we feel uncertain, it's practice. It's practice, right? That's how we get better, is repetition and practice. And it's the same. This is one of the things that I love about the book. Everything I needed to know I learned in kindergarten, because we really did. Like, we really did. We learned everything that we need to know for life in kindergarten, if we can stay focused on it and remember, right? That we're going to make mistakes, and that's the only way to learn, and we're going to take that information back and we're going to adjust our behaviors and our actions and our choices to accommodate that real-time feedback. Um, and I don't know who's really ever confident. Like, I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I am
I'm
about some
confident.
things.
Well, I'm confident. I'm confident that I'm gonna be able to work through things. I'm very confident about that, but I'm never super confident about outcomes, because somebody told me one time, as human beings, we're not in the business of outcomes. We're in the businesses
Mm-hmm.
of effort and attitude, right? And our effort and our
Mm.
attitude are what we're in control of, but the outcomes, not so much. And so I think that's another reason to validate the uncertainty, because what we're uncertain of is that outcome. And we should be uncertain about the outcome because we don't know. And we have very little influence or control over the outcome. So I hope that normalizes uncertainty a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That that uncertainty, like, of course it's there. Of course, because the outcomes. I lots of times clients will come and they'll be like, "Well, how sure are you that you're going to be able to do X, Y, and Z?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm really certain that I'm going to be able to do my part of that."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But the outcome of it, I don't know. I mean, I have a track record, we have history to go over, we have reason to believe that this will be the outcome. But certainty, you know, it is what it is, right? I
Mm-hmm.
love that. Terry says, I'm confident in,
Unfortunately,
oh, yeah, go
no, go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just going to read Terry's comment. I'll read it in a second. You can go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, fortunately, especially for the clinical advocates in the room, we are in a
Ooh,
space where, well, I don't know about you guys, but for me, anyways, people don't come to me exactly looking for outcomes because we're in a space. If you're talking about somebody's health and medical conditions, most people are aware that outcomes are not guaranteed. So that actually, in that respect, makes these that takes some of that pressure off. So, but what I do pivot to to give encouragement to potential clients is like, well, here's the process, and here is what I guarantee you will get, and
yeah.
that is immensely relieving for them.
Yes. Because again, we were talking or Wednesday, I don't know, one of the calls recently, we were talking about creating safety for our clients, and that's what we're really doing, right? Is giving them this
Mm-hmm.
safety container because the healthcare system. This is why, Kayla, we were talking not long ago, and you were like, we are the antidote to the current United States healthcare system, and I'm like, yes, that's exactly what we are, right? Because we are everything that it's not. It does not provide a safe container for dialogue around what can or might happen. It just kind of throws information at us, right? And as
Mm-hmm.
advocates, we're kind of there to create some safety for patients and be like, hey, this is what's happening, this is what we can do, these are the options, these are the things that we need to explore and look at, and really give some, like you said, relief to
Mm-hmm.
patients, right? Even if it's just in not not the actual outcomes of the clinical situation or the financial situation, but the outcomes that they're going to experience as a result of working with us, right? Which is confidence and security and understanding and feeling heard and
Heard.
seen and listened to and all of those things. Those are real outcomes that we
Mm-hmm.
provide, that there isn't any place else that does that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Or if
Um,
it is, it's the exception and not the rule.
right, 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 right.
And
Um,
I am so committed to my work that I am confident that I can deliver those outcomes to my clients.
yes,
So that
yes,
that is also that, like, one of my key takeaways with this quote, going back to confidence is not the prerequisite, it's the byproduct of commitment. Like I
yes.
said, we can flip it around to the, I like to sit with myself sometimes and be like, well, who are you to even think that you would feel confident before you've even done something before. But then also, like, finding the pieces of it that we can be confident about, because if we're talking about, like, oh, the business being successful, however you define that, like, that's a really big amorphous goal. Like, it's great. I mean, I have that goal too, but, like, of course that feels overwhelming and leaves you feeling not confident because probably off the top of your head can't even define what that means. But if we can break down the parts and decide, sit down exactly with what is in my control and what is not in my control. And of the actions that are in my control, what can I do to drive those outcomes? Okay, well, I'm confident in my ability to do those things that I have decided are, key to moving the business forward. And ergo, I am confident when I sit down at my desk that the wheels are turning in the right direction.
Ooh, love this. Love it. Right? Because what I'm hearing you say, Kayla, is that confidence is earned by keeping commitments, not by thinking about them. Right? And that's where we talk about, the think once, execute daily, right? The whole idea of getting up and executing with confidence that I'm moving forward because I've already made these decisions and these commitments, right, that are moving me forward in my business. I love that. I love that we're talking about the commitment part of it because
And the
it
commitment
drives.
is key. Like,
Yes.
it's not just the last word of a sentence or, can
Mm-mm.
be swapped in with something else. Like that is the pivotal thing. If you're just trying to see how this goes, don't be surprised when it doesn't turn out the way you had hoped.
Right.
And again, I think you can look at this, you look at other areas of your life for evidence of this. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we have all had relationships that didn't end well,
Mhm.
and people who just weren't a match for us. And that doesn't make them bad or us bad, like nothing like that. Like, you're not meant to be with every person, right? And sometimes people will, they'll be dating somebody, but they're kind of keeping their options open because maybe they know inside that this is not the right person. And so there's that idea of, like, having a life raft, or, an old ex text you or something. I don't know. That wasn't an experience I encountered, but it's one that I've heard of. But when you don't commit and you just keep options open,
Mm,
nothing's ever going to work.
right.
Even if you are
Oh,
with the right person or the right business strategy or whatever, because you're not all in. And none of this stuff, the
yeah.
really hard stuff in life, none of it freaking works if you are not all in 100%. Because if your brain knows that there is a backdoor exit, as soon as shit gets hard, guess what you're going to do? Pull the
To the
ripcord.
door. That's right. That's right. Yep. So true. So true. So true. I love that. And I agree with it 110%, right? Because I think that it's the commitment that keeps us taking the feedback and making the adjustments and taking and making another action. Because like you said, if there's an exit strategy in the back of my mind, when I get bad feedback, I'm gonna hit that exit button, right?
Or even if
And
there's not even an
instead of,
exit strategy, but if there's even a thought,
yeah.
because that's just, I mean, it's literally like, that just is neurobiology. Like, we as human beings are not hardwired to do hard things. We are hardwired to take safe actions that conserve resources, because for millennia, that is what has kept the human species alive. Thank you, lizard brain, for, getting all of my ancestors here. However, this is modern day. I'm not fighting a saber-toothed tiger. I am building a business, although sometimes it feels like it. But that's the difference, is that innate wiring predisposes us to it is the opposite of commitment. It is
Yeah.
always scanning for danger. And so if you have not, with your frontal lobe, decided, regardless of what discomfort comes up, I am committed to seeing this through. If you have not made that the override on the default program, then when discomfort comes up, when somebody has something to say about it, or when, you tried something and it didn't land the right way, that's when the lizard brain kicks back in. Well, you know what? Maybe this wasn't the right thing. Maybe, what if, maybe, dot, 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 dot. We all know how that goes.
Yeah.
And that is why the commitment is essential.
So true. So true. I'm looking at my notes to see if there's anything. I don't know. We are getting down to the wire. So let's do this. Just a reminder, if this has surfaced any specific decision that you are delaying right now, I'm going to share with you that I'm unpacking how this commitment turns into execution in our YouTube video this week on our YouTube channel, which is at Patient Advocate CEO. If you're not subscribed, head over there, subscribe for us. And what is the challenge of the week? I've got here that I just want to know, what is it that you're postponing a clear commitment on while you're telling yourself, I'm still getting ready? Like, what is that thing right now that's holding, that you're not making the commitment on because you feel like, I'm not quite ready? What is that? Tell us what that is in the comments. Kayla, what's your challenge this week?
Yeah, I want you to identify what that is and then figure out what's the smallest piece you can commit to.
Ooh, I love this. I love this. I love this. Yeah. Just one
And I'm gonna
little
pull out.
tiny thing.
We have a comment. Somebody said,
Oh,
"Speaking of
good.
commitment, I'm working on launching and have a goal to commit to a platform this week. I have a short list, but I'm wondering what people are using."
Mm.
Um, when you say platform, are you referring to social media platform or what?
Good morning. Yes,
Good
this is
morning.
Lori. I mean, kind of like for website membership, things like Kajabi or
Ah,
that kind of thing.
okay. I've got, I'm gonna drop a link here to the Independent Advocate Toolkit. It's got a lot of the systems and the things that we use over at Tennessee Health Advocates. Where is that? I'll get that over to you, Laura. Okay. I'll put it in the comments underneath here, or um, why isn't, but I'll get that to you. All right, Lori, can you drop your email in the chat for me just so that I can get it to you over there? Because I
Sure.
can't find the link really right now. Thank you.
With that specific question, I want to add, this is something that I have found AI to be quite useful for, because you can actually say like, oh, here's the 3 tools I'm considering, and put in
Mm,
some, and then have it ask you like questions about how you tend to approach technology and workflows, etc. And then it can take some information about your default working style and give a recommendation based on that. You can also, they typically have free trials and demos, play around with them for a little bit, set a time limit, and set a date when you're gonna make a decision. Set a deadline to make a
love it.
decision. And then get some info, make a decision. And remember, when we say commitment, this is not a lifelong blood bond. Okay?
Right.
It's a committed all-in action that can and should be reevaluated routinely,
Sure.
but not triggered because of moods and whims and emotions. But maybe it's, okay, it's the quarter, let me run through my systems, see what's working, what's not working. Or, if you start getting into something and then you're just hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, okay, well, you know what, that's a sign that maybe we need to reevaluate this. But separating
Right.
out what's a feeling and a mood to try to undermine a commitment versus what's just functionally not working.
Love it. Love it. This is one of the things that we do in the 90-day strategic action planning session. So, if you're looking to put together a 90-day strategic action plan, get with me. There is the link in the chat. Lori, I will get the systems over to you, that advocacy toolkit. I'll get that to you today. Any other questions? Otherwise, like I said, we take the action. Just take it. Take a deep breath. You're going to be okay. You'll survive it. It's not going to be the end of the world. do the thing, see what the world says, take the feedback. And I agree, Kayla, 110%. I tell people don't make changes for 90 days. Like at least the minimum commitment needs to be 90 days so that you can see and get good data on it and then make some adjustments and reevaluation. So love that. You guys, this has been great. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We're gonna wrap up Mindset Monday. Kayla and I are so grateful for all of you in this community of independent patient advocates, and we hope that today's conversation has empowered you in your work and your personal life this week. Be sure to share how you're applying it in your own advocacy practice, and we'll see you next Monday for more inspiration. Thanks and have a great week.
Bye bye.